And so, yeah,
Not
publicly
wrong.
he's like, yeah, we're gonna do great. Privately, he's like,
We're fucked. We're so fucked, boys.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
over. It's over.
yeah. And I should say at this point, the legal argument that they construct is nonsense. And it's nonsense in a way.
100%. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
In a way that Weinberg, Kevin Pollak actually identifies, right? Which is they're not responsible for their actions. It's not murder because they didn't intend to kill him. They didn't intend to do anything wrong because they were following an order.
They were a Bushido.
I was following orders. That's called the Nuremberg defense.
Sam Weinberg even flags this up.
Yeah, and to which you get the response. No, it's not.
Kevin Pollak is this whole thing where it's like, this is jumping ahead a bit, but Demi Moore asks him, why do you hate them so much? And he's just like, they tortured a weaker guy because they didn't like him because he couldn't run any fast as they could, and that's fucked up. And the whole time we're like, yes, he's right, and he should say
He's spitting. This man is so. He's right.
To which her response is, would he ask her, like, he asks her, why do you like them so much? He's like, oh, because they stand on a wall and say,
yeah, I have this.
Why do you like them so much?
Because they stand on a wall and they say nothing's going to hurt you tonight. Not on my watch.
And this is
Not
the thing.
on my
fuck
watch.
off.
This is the thing. They make this sort of like. I think this is one of the things where we can give the movie too much credit because later on, Jack
She's just
Nicholson
like,
will do
God,
the
I
"I'm
love
standing
the
on the wall"
troops,
thing.
like, I know,
It's
it's
supposed
so
to be ridiculous and fascist, but you hear it first from her in a sympathetic way. And so this thing, which is not at all an unclear point of law, the idea that you are legally responsible if you follow an illegal order, it doesn't matter. Sam mentions Lieutenant William Calley, who was convicted of war crimes at My Lai. And their argument, their moral argument is that doctrine, that doesn't count if you're in enough danger of someone yelling at you. Because if someone yells at you, you just do the thing.
If that's the same as dying.
The flames were coming out of my head so hard at this point because he's trying. Tom Cruise has a whole monologue in court. I'm pitching, like, I got my head in my hands here, where he's trying to explain, like, oh, there's some orders that you shouldn't obey, and I'm just screaming. The phrase you're looking for is called unlawful order. It's in the UCMJ. Not only do you not have to follow an unlawful order, which includes cruel and unusual punishment of someone else, you are legally obligated to not follow it, and if you do, you are liable to be punished for it.
It just
sort of ruins the whole point of the movie, doesn't it, really?
As a moral argument, too, it requires you to believe, and this is why I think that the movie takes the 300 yards from 4,000 Cubans at earnest, right? It requires you to believe that being in Guantanamo Bay in 1992 as a Marine is more personally dangerous than being in fucking Vietnam.
Yeah.
During the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
It's like, it's absolutely baffling. Like, it's nonsense.
And so the way that they construct this is, it'll swing the jury, and the jury care less about, like, facts. Doesn't matter. It's a legal argument. As a point of law, the judge can and in fact must throw it out. So they go to trial.
Yeah. Anyway, so their basic point is just like, well, Kiefer Sutherland ordered them to do this, and you have to obey orders when you're a Marine samurai.
He pushes him in, and he asks him the question, "Did you order the code red?" But before that, because he's like arguing with him, because he's shouting at him, the judge says, "I will hold you in contempt." And a second before he asks him, "Did you order the code red?" the judge says, "You are in contempt." Now, if you're in contempt of court, not only does Colonel Drill not have to answer the question, "Did you order the code red?" but whether he chooses to answer it or not, his answer is inadmissible. This is at best a mistrial, but it doesn't matter because it's a legal confection. It's fiction. But it bothered me, right?
But he says, "Did you order it?" And he says, "You goddamn right I did."
Yeah, the judge says you don't have to answer that, and then Colonel Drill responds, "I'm about to win the Brian Cox Memorial Award in Intelligence."
Yes. It was a top secret hazing ritual, and he admits to it, thus incriminating himself. The thing is, right? Again, legally, this bothers me. This doesn't make his Tom Cruise's clients not guilty of murder. It just doesn't. There is no, just because they were ordered to do it, it just makes him guilty of murder as well, conspiracy murder. It doesn't, but it doesn't matter.
Good. I'll be guilty,
Yes.
but like it doesn't mean those guys are suddenly off the hook.
Yeah, and so what we get is like a sort of a readily comprehensible to the layman jury verdict, which is the jury come back, they find the two Marines not guilty of murder and conspiracy murder, but they do find them guilty of conduct unbecoming, which you can't charge an enlisted Marine with because it's conduct unbecoming an officer
Being
and
an
a gentleman.
officer, thank you.
It's not conduct unbecoming of a Marine. It's
Yeah,
This is Aaron's again and again. I love a lot of things about Aaron Sorkin. I'm being hard on him because there's a lot of things I love about him, but he's definitely the type of creator who cares more about vibes and if whether or not something feels like it's coming off good versus whether or not it's actually right or possible or correct in any way.
What's interesting is that Ross arrests Colonel Drill, which he doesn't have the authority to do. He's a lawyer. There are MPs there, but he arrests him.
Yeah. Well, it's because he needs to complete his character arc. Like,
yeah,
and then
it's a writing
after this
confliction
is
because
like,
it's a movie we're watching. Really, is the thing.
I know. But that you will never get me to not be autistic about the movie.
I understand, especially a law thing, especially law and military. Like, I'm not asking
this is catnip for me.
my notes just say Alice. So Colonel Drill gets arrested. Dawson and Downey get dishonorably discharged. And then
this is another thing, right? I don't think that Aaron Sorkin knows what a dishonorable discharge is, right? I think it's something the movie presents as this is bad because it offends the Marines' sort of like sense of honor, right? But it's not so bad now. And in fact, Tom Cruise gets his sort of arc completed when he says to Downey, "You don't need to wear a patch on your arm to have honor." And he gets like a salute returned because he's an
Downey
officer
salutes
now.
him and says the theme of the film, which is lawyers are like troops.
Yeah,
straight
but
into
Lawyers
the
are
camera.
the real troops.
Just to sort of like throw a bit of cold water on this, a dishonorable discharge. You are retrospectively not a veteran. You don't get VA healthcare. You don't get the GI Bill. It's like analogous to like a felony conviction.
Yeah, you'll have a hell of a time getting a job.
This is still really bad, and the movie can't decide whether that's good or not. Right? It can't decide whether murdering a guy in a sort of a hazing ritual and then feeling bad about it is like forgivably bad or not, and sort of where the
I think
responsibility
it comes down on the side of yes, it is. I think the movie very strongly comes down on the side of that.
Downey even actually kind of says that, and he kind of says something that I agree with, and I'm kind of like, yeah, you should have thought about that, where because Dawson's the one who says basically because other guys having a hard time understanding like why this is happening, and it's just like, well, we were supposed to. We got punished because we were supposed to look out for people like Willie. We weren't supposed to be hazing and torturing and whatever. Then we were supposed to be looking out and protecting people like that. And it's like, yeah, should have thought of that earlier before literally all of this. You fucking dipshit.
I think it's definitely when you're on trial for murdering someone, a lot of the time you're going to be thinking things like, I shouldn't have done that. And it's not really apotheosis to your character.
I never thought that.
You still killed someone. Well, I know we've heard your thoughts about this in Saloon. Revenge is fine. It's good. It's cool.
But I thought it was really weird when Dawson looked directly down the barrel of the lens and said, in a liberal democracy, the military ought to be commended, but must be under the democratic command of the people and the rule of law. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's very sort of warmed over Frank Capra.
It's liberalism. It's like this. Okay, so let's fucking do the analysis zone before we go on to Scum.
Yes, please, let's do the analysis
It's like
zone.
Clear and Present Danger because it's a movie about liberalism, and it's like yes to the rule of law, yes to democracy. Like lawyers are the real troops. The troops are good, but also like lawyers are better because it's about obeying the rules. And I'm like, okay, on the one hand, like we live in 2023 where like liberalism is collapsing because it's a dying ideology. We all know this. But also,
the
I'm
reason why I stopped wanting to be a lawyer.
Yeah. But at the same time, I'm like, I understand why movies like this are popular or why they were popular. I am saddened that they don't make movies that really kind of like defend liberalism anymore, or at least the values of it.
I feel similarly to The West Wing, right? And the West Wing occasionally managed to get me sometimes. And sometimes watching Aaron Sorkin, I would feel myself be like, oh man, maybe I am an American patriot. That's fucking weird considering I've only been there once. It's like, there's so little of this kind of like idealistic, optimistic nationalism that even a crumb of it is like potentially quite powerful. And I think this movie is like probably as good as Sorkin gets. I think it's legally incoherent, morally naive, profoundly misogynistic. However,
I mean, I don't think it would
it's
be
still compelling.
Yeah, it compels me,
I
though.
enjoyed watching it. It compels me though.
It's probably lucky for Aaron
put
Sorkin that we don't scum bonus movies.
Yeah,
I think you can
put
probably
like
guess what it's going to be based on.
Yeah, absolutely.
You put like a sort of a soft focus of an American national monument, and you play some like sort of mournful strings over the back of it. I'm standing up and I am saluting from my gamer chair.
I mean, they
Contrast.
showed the fucking Iwo Jima shit like 4 or 5 times. It started to become a joke by the end.
Contrast that to the moment in No Time to Die when Ralph Fiennes says, "I believe in this
something,"
and kind of like gestures around at South Bank, and it's like, you believe in fucking what? Like, what?
Yeah,
we don't make movies like this in this country because we don't have fucking, what do we have? Like,
we don't have anything, man.
Like that's, you could make it if it's set in World War II, but other than that, it's like, no, we're fucking done. Actually,
and then we don't make them anymore in this country just because everyone's just kind of like, I don't know, not to the degree of Britain, but just like, I don't know, just post 9/11, just everything is gray, nothing can be good and hopeful. And I don't know, movies like this and The West Wing, these Sorkin-esque things, they remind me of where I came from and that I used to be a very sort of milquetoast progressive liberal. And even though my politics have changed, they sort of remind me of, I mean, I don't know, there are aspects of this that I think I will never totally get out of my system, even as my politics have changed. I mean, I'm the guy who goes on the internet and says, hey, even if you elect president leftists and get a DSA supermajority in Congress, you'll probably still need a military, but like for different reasons. And I don't know, this is, I think, this is part of why this still appeals to me in a way, even if I can rip it apart in a million different nitpicky ways.
I think we should make movies like this again. I'd be interested to see someone try and make like a pro-liberalism movie now. Just even if it fails, I think it would fail in an interesting way.
That was A Few Good Men, and I think what we've all learned is that about sort of the current geopolitical settlement is that truly we cannot handle the truth. Big round of applause for that.
Hey-o!
Please.
Yeah, we're all libs now. We're all voting Keir Starmer. We're restoring dignity of the institutions.
That's right.
I do have a statement to enter into the record. So it pleased the court, as a warning to the listener, that if you go into this movie expecting in any capacity for John Goodman to appear, you are going to be sorely disappointed. I know it's called A Few Good Men, but he does not appear.
I strenuously object to the lack of John Goodman.
Oh, you strenuously object. Oh, okay. So I reconsider.